We have so many teams making so many moves and new number ones in both Division III and the top 20 national poll. We'll get right to it, but first, an explanation. This is the week we introduced the Massey Power Ranking system into the mix. Each power ranking is created by applying weekly scores into their proprietary formula. We then average these rankings with the submissions from our panel of head coaches, and voila, we have our poll results. There will be a great deal of movement with the new averages at play, so buckle up and let's head to Division III. Laverne and Johns Hopkins are knotted once again. Laverne defeated 3 of their 4 opponents over the weekend, while the Blue Jays dropped 3 of their 4 matches. The two teams have one thing in common, however, as both were victorious over Connecticut College. Augustana, who made their debut at number 10 last week, climbs up to number 9. The Vikings split their weekend slate with wins over UC Merced and Biola, and losses to Chapman and Whittier. They travel to Washington, PA for another 4 games this weekend. MIT fell to Princeton, Long Island University, and Iona U. They face a couple of Ivies this weekend with games against Brown and Harvard. Chapman had a tough time at the Gary Troyer tournament with losses to UC San Diego, Johns Hopkins, and Augustana. They eked out a victory over Biola, however, it was not enough to keep them in place, and the Panthers fall 3 spots to number 7. 3 teams had solid enough weekends to jump into a tie at number 4. Cal Lutheran went undefeated over the weekend with wins over Ottawa University AZ, Connecticut College, Westcliff, and McKendree. Oxy Water Polo makes some huge moves and jumps 3 positions to join the others. Whittier took their second loss of the season in a match against Long Beach State. Other than that, it was smooth sailing for the Poets over the weekend. And not to be outdone, Redlands and Pomona-Pitzer jump up to form a 3-way tie at the top of the food chain. Redlands suffered 3 losses over the weekend, but they had some major opponents. The Bulldogs fell to Long Beach State, UC Irvine, and Cal Baptist. Pomona-Pitzer split their series over the weekend with losses to Pepperdine and UCI, and Claremont Mud Scripps took wins over Biola, Wagner, and Air Force, and was handed a loss from Pepperdine. Now let's head over to the national top 20. Navy and Brown both have a share of number 19. Navy had the weekend off, while Brown recorded a loss to Princeton and wins over LIU and Iona. Cal Baptist holds at number 18. Santa Clara and LMU both fall into a tie at 16. The Broncos fell to UC Davis and UC Santa Barbara, while LMU took some lumps at the hands of UC San Diego and UCLA. The Lions did, however, find a win over Cal State Fullerton. UC Santa Barbara, UC Davis, and UC San Diego take 15, 14, and 13 respectively. Harvard jumps up 5 positions to tie it up with San Jose State. The Crimson faced off with their old foe Princeton in a match that'll be talked about for a while. The Tigers kicked things off with 3 unanswered goals. Then it was Harvard's turn. They scored 2 to cut the Tiger lead down to 1 by the end of the first. Back and forth they went. Things were knotted at 9 at the end of the third and 14 by the end of regulation. The two sides quickly found themselves in sudden death overtime where Dean Strasser put this one away for the Crimson. Harvard took it 17-16. Pepperdine takes a rather large fall down to the 9th position. This must be where the power ranking averages come into play. There's really no other reason for the Waves to take a tumble like this. Yes, they did lose to UCI over the weekend. However, this remains a strong team with a 14-3 record. We'll see if they can't find their way into the top 5 once again in the weeks ahead. Our friends in Long Beach jump up 2 spots to claim number 8, and UC Irvine stays at number 7. California moves back up to number 6 in spite of the Golden Bears' 3-game losing streak. They'll take on Long Beach State on Saturday. Fordham was dormant over the weekend, but that didn't stop the Rams from entering the top 5. They take on Wagner and Iona this weekend. The 9-0 Pacific Tigers also move up a spot and land at number 4. And a bit of movement at the top of the charts gives us a new number 1 team in the nation. Stanford started their weekend by holding UCLA to a season-low 7 goals. UCLA struck first with a power play goal from Wade Sherlock. Then it was the Cardinal. Soren Jensen got them on the board with 6:52 left in the first. He scored another with 4:55 left to go in the period. After that, Stanford scored another, then another, and another for good measure to make it 5-1 at the end of the opening quarter. Down by 4, the Bruins got back to work. With 5:43 left to go in the second, Ryder Dodd found the back of the net. 30 seconds later, it was Gary Carson for UCLA. With 4:03 left to play in the half, it was Ryder Dodd once again. Stanford broke up the run with a goal from Dash McFarland, and the half ended with a 6-4 Cardinal lead. That score differential would stay in place. The two teams settled in and recorded 3 goals apiece in the back half. The Card topped the Bruins 9-7. Stanford then set their sights on USC. The Cardinals scored 3 unanswered goals in the first half and built an 8-2 lead by the end of the third. The Trojans would rally back with 4 unanswered goals of their own, but it wouldn't be enough. Stanford takes this one 8-6. And there you have it, a new number 1 for the first time this season. Hey, have you subscribed yet? I don't know about you, but I think subscribing is the best way to stay up to date with all things Water Polo Nation. And feel free to leave us a like. It's no big deal. We just think it's cool. All right, see you next time.